Are you ready for the Low Blows Network? Every Wednesday on the Low Blows Network, the Low Blows team are at hand to break down, analyze, and make fun of all things pro wrestling. Hosted by former pro wrestler Rick Nash. I think the only reasonable thing we can do now is turn John Cena heel.
Selfie with me fucking dog.
Banned from Nigeria. I will be talking to the government tomorrow morning. YouTube star Corporate King.
This elephant has 4 legs. Joe Russell's 4 legs. Joseph Stalin, if he had 2 more legs.
Bonesaw rips off his shirt, yeah, and it says, "Shuck your law, big dirty tricor."
And the Queen of Irish Wrestling, Katey Harvey.
I won't want to sign just CM Punk.
So embarrassed. CM Punk.
It's Low Blows.
Football's coming back this weekend, and the Premier League is getting back started. So if you'll excuse me, guys, wrestling's been fun for the past while, but I'm going to go play with my fantasy teams and just forget about it for the next few months. And in the news this week, as we prepare for transfer deadline day, happening earlier than usual, it's happening on Thursday, guys, for anyone who doesn't know. Romelu Lukaku and Paul Dybal's swap deal between United and Juventus is off after Man United pulled out due to the Juventus strikers' huge wage demands. But as we get kicked off here, on another edition of Low Blows, Rick Nash, Katey Harvey and Corporate Keen in the house as always. Guys, what was the most memorable deal in wrestling you can think of that didn't happen?
I didn't know the football was coming back, and now you've made me sad because Phil's going to go into football hibernation soon. Deadline day is the worst in my house.
Really?
Like, I remember one deadline day, Phil's a City supporter, my brother's a diehard Chelsea supporter, and I remember the two of them sitting beside each other on the sofa, not speaking, because there was some deal going down, and it was just me awkwardly in the middle, like, anyone want a cup of tea? And like, it was just glaring at me while this countdown was on the screen. Like, I fucking hate it.
Come here, this is something I need to know. What happened the year that, do you remember City got bought out on deadline day? Did Phil just explode and have to put himself back together? City got bought out on deadline day, and they bought Robinho from under Man United's nose, and it's basically like, City are billionaires now, and that all happened during deadline day, and there was no news of it beforehand. Like, were you around? Were you,
many years ago, that would be.
It's a good one. It's since, like, that was the start of City being good, if that makes sense.
So
So
it
it
would have
might
been
be.
very early.
Yeah. What's
I
that?
think it was like 08, was it?
Yeah, it's years ago now.
I think that's before me.
Right, okay,
Yeah,
grand.
yeah.
Yeah, you missed the worst one, though. But that explains why he gets so excited. It brings back good memories.
Yeah. But as for the deal, did I ever tell you at the time I was supposed to wrestle China?
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
I was supposed to wrestle China.
Oh.
Where?
PWU.
What?
Yeah.
What is this? Oh my God, start at the start here. I'm getting comfortable.
I told this story at the OTT Q&A, like, because I got a similar question. JDP pulled me aside one day and was like, look, I don't want you to get too excited, but we're booking China. And I was like, what the fuck? I knew she'd been doing appearances in Scotland, and they're like, we've got to agree to a match. And he was like, we're giving it to you. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I started hyperventilating. I was like, 'cause I love China.
Yeah.
And I was freaking out. And I was like, so excited. And he's like, look, we haven't got all the details worked out, but, you know, keep it to yourself. And then a couple of weeks later, he's like, look, she's just too much money to actually wrestle.
Right.
And it's not worth bringing her in just for an appearance. And I was devastated.
Oh.
And, like, I mean, this was maybe 4 months before she died.
Oh.
Like, so it was just like a double whammy, because they were like, we're going to try again. And then she died. But I was like, I was so close to meeting my hero. And like,
And getting to wrestle her, like.
yeah, I was like, bring her in for an appearance. I'll take a clothesline. I'll take a low blow. I'll take whatever she wants to do. Like, but I was so close. It's the one match that I thought I was going to get that has just crushed me that I didn't
That
get.
is sickening, like.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know you now, you know what I mean? Because that's like the kind of story that is like so pivotal, like, and so that's you getting to meet your hero and then getting it taken away from you.
Yeah,
like.
I feel like I thought I'd shared that before.
You should have came in on your first ever edition of Low Blows and been like, I nearly got to wrestle China, right?
Yeah.
You know the way I love China? I nearly got to wrestle her. Holy shit, wow. Oh my God, what a match
Fair
that
play
would
to
have been
PW
too.
for trying to get it as well,
Yeah.
like, because that would have been massive for them.
I miss PWU.
I miss PWU too.
Do you remember Nordy Wrestling was nice and calm with PWU, and they had like the odd big name, and it was just chilled out, and there wasn't any mad shit happening.
I mean, like, you'd be a bit cold, but like...
We moaned. We were like, it's really cold in the venue. Little did we realise how fucking good we had it.
I'd take coldness over homophobia any day.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, right.
Cian, the most memorable deal in wrestling that didn't happen.
I remember when 5-Star Wrestling existed, and they offered, allegedly, I don't know, but CM Punk a lot of money to wrestle. And everyone's like, oh shit, CM Punk is going to make his big return to wrestling at 5-Star Wrestling in, I don't know, Belfast or wherever it was. That would have been gas. I don't know, but yeah, I'm devastated it didn't happen.
Yeah, imagine though, like how shit would it have been? Like it'd have been one of those comebacks that you get really excited for in the hype, but then when you actually see happen, it just reflects badly on the person in the comeback. Do you know what I mean? Do you know where it's like, oh, CM Punk has fallen. You know, you're like, you hear the music and you're like, yeah, and then you see him come out and he's wrestling for 5-Star Wrestling, and you're like, oh man,
5-Star Wrestling's deadly. Don't talk shit.
It
would have been so good.
It doesn't exist anymore.
I did watch some of it. It was an experience. But remember they booked that 128-man tournament? Like, I don't think they even got like a quarter of the way through the first round.
Imagine winning that. That is such a cool thing to say. I won a 128-man
I
tournament.
just remember being ticked that I couldn't get booked in a 128-man tournament.
Oh shit! For me, it'd have to be, and this ties in with something else that happened last week on a more serious note. Harley Race never signing for WWE in his peak. I think that's, and you have so many other things with that as well. Like there's so many other people. Like we never got to see. Well, Flair we got to see for a little bit, but like there's so many others that were like, oh man, if that had just happened at that particular time. But I do want to talk about Harley Race, and I want to take a moment to kind of pay tribute to him because, of course, for everyone knows by now. You know, we're not breaking any news here. He passed away last week at the age of 76 due to lung cancer. He was a legit badass who, and I learned a lot. I've done a lot of research on him because I like to take this time to kind of, you know, we think we know these people, but at the same time we don't, like, we just know him as like Harley Race. Oh yeah, Harley Race, great wrestler, you know what I mean? But we don't actually know his story, and his story is fucking cool. Like, he grew up and worked in a farm of Stanislaus and Vladek Zbyszko. So Larry Zbyszko's kind of ancestors who were like famous wrestlers in the 1920s. As a teen, he got his start in wrestling doing carnival exhibition fights against local farmers. So he used to be like a job boy when there was a big wrestler coming into town. This is like wrestling at like the start of wrestling. So when there was like local big wrestlers coming into town, Ric Flair or whatever, like not Ric Flair because this was before his time, but like if there was a big name coming into town, he'd be a jobber for them, but then like he'd be the known jobber in the area. So what he'd do, like to kind of make his name, was he'd have legitimate fights with farmers in the ring who'd fancy their chances because they're like Katey, have you ever got this where it's like people have an attitude towards wrestlers? And I was warned about this when I trained, and I found out it was actually the truth. People will start fights with you if they know you're a wrestler because they've got nothing to lose. Because if they win, they beat a fucking wrestler and they're a legend. And if they lose, well, they lost the fucking Harley Race. You know what I mean? Like, so that's kind of the logic. And like, he had to basically legitimately fight them. Another thing I didn't know was he lost his wife and unborn child and was pronounced dead himself in a car wreck. This is before his career even got underway. He survived, but he was told that he'd have to have his leg amputated. He just point blank said, no, I'm not going to have that happen, so he refused. They needed to get a specialist in, and it was actually saved in the end, but he was told that he'd never walk again. He was back in the ring within a year. So Katie Harvey, no excuses when you hear that shit. He later went on to, of course, become an 8-time NWA World Champion. His first reign was only meant to be as a transitional champ, but he did so well that he became a top star in the industry afterwards. He was chased by Vince McMahon. This is what we're talking about throughout the 80s, an attempt to legitimize the WWF. So while he was the NWA champion, Vince McMahon chased him and wanted to get him into WWF, and he wanted to make them the undisputed top territory, but he rallied against them. He was running his own kind of territory. territory at the time. So he said, no, I'm not going to give in. I'm not going to give in to the money, before eventually giving in as injuries kind of mounted and business got bad as WWE got bigger under Hulkamania in 1986. He got the feud with Hulk Hogan, and it was during one match where he was injured doing a diving headbutt through a table. This is in the fucking 80s. What an absolute boss. Though, again, another like crushing indictment of the diving headbutt. How many fucking people has this move taken away from us? And that was the beginning of the end for him in ring. He became a manager in WCW afterwards, working with Vader, being his most memorable client, Lex Luger, as well. He ran his own school. He was responsible for training Tommaso Ciampa, so his legacy still lives on to this day. And he ran a small promotion, and he is in literally every wrestling Hall of Fame there is. That's not a figure of speech. He is in every wrestling Hall of Fame. And like the one thing that I said, like my first thought when Harley Race was announced as dead last week was he literally became almost an adjective in wrestling for like a hard badass. You know what I mean? Like that's when you know you've made it, when you become a fucking adjective, when it's like he's a Harley Race type. You know what I mean? That's the way people spoke of him. A man who really made his legacy, and like again, 76. For these old timers, when you consider like the car crash he had, when you consider that like the stuff he'd been through, the legitimate fights he had to go through, he was reportedly, well, this isn't a great indictment, but as well, he was reportedly a big drinker, and he reportedly would drive 100 miles an hour on the road with Ric Flair back in the day. And there's legendary stories about how even after his car crash, he just still liked to drive top speeds and stuff like that. So when you consider all that, 76 is a decent age. He's left his mark on the industry. Even in an era like today where we're bringing in a lot of new fans and younger fans, and they're not kind of as big on nostalgia. Even when you saw Raw Reunion, the reaction to that a few weeks ago, people are like, oh, it's just like old timers and this. That's the way people feel towards nostalgia, but everyone still knew Harley Race, and it's a credit to the man. So a life well lived in wrestling, an absolute legend, has made his mark and will be remembered. So we'd like to pass on our condolences to his family and friends, and may he rest in peace. Anyway, look, we're going to move on with the show. We're going to give more kind of divisive, interesting talking points. There's not much you can say about Harley Race. Great wrestler, rest in peace. We're going to talk about the big talking points that caught our attention this week, and we're going to give our lightning hot takes on them because, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for
Hot Takes.
Hot Takes are takes on the stories of the week that have caught our interest, starting with Corporate King.
Yeah, so a lot of British wrestling talk this last week. Jim Smallman leaving Progress, which is fucking mad. Like, I can't imagine Progress without Jim Smallman.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's so, like, who's going to ring announce? Who's going to talk and stuff? I don't know. It's weird.
Engo, like, waiting by the phone right now. Like, they need someone to come out and talk before the show.
But I just can't imagine anyone other than Jim in that ring. It's so weird.
Nuts.
Like,
it's nuts.
I thought they were setting Eddie Dennis up for it.
Really?
Oh, actually, yeah, that makes sense.
Because didn't he stand in for him recently when he couldn't make a show?
Oh.
And like he's after retiring from in-ring Progress competition.
Right. Okay. Well, that's
then that's probably it.
maybe not. Like that was just. I thought maybe that was a tryout for him. I don't know.
Was this before? Obviously, it was before this was announced. So
Yeah.
like, but they would have known this is coming for a while. But yeah, it is weird. It's mental.
Yeah, no,
like you think of Progress, you think of Jim Smallman. It'd be like Joe's leaving OTT, and it's like, well, what's OTT now? You know what I mean? What is it? Yeah.
Even WWE or something. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. It's nuts.
Weird.
It's nuts. Yeah.
Also, Defiant went out of business as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of negative talk around British wrestling. And
for anyone who doesn't know, by the way, Defiant used to be WCPW.
Yeah. It was a fairly big promotion in the UK. But so a lot of people are basically saying that British wrestling's dead. And my hot take is British wrestling isn't dead.
Okay.
I don't think WWE was good for British wrestling at all.
No.
I'm not one of those people either. I think that's bollocks. Like when people are like, no, it's good, you know, it's actually a benefit to whatever, you know, they sign people and I mean they're on NXT UK, they're wrestling less matches, and I don't know, I mean we'll see what it leads to, but I don't think it's a particularly good thing. But to say that British wrestling is dead is a load of shit, because you still got Fight Club Pro, even without, like, ICW had a great show recently. You've still got Fight Club Pro, you've got Riptide. I know it's not the British wrestling scene, but OTT is kind of almost under the same umbrella in a way.
Yeah.
You've got all these other promotions that are still doing great, but even if promotions aren't doing that great, even if you look at Progress, and they've kind of cooled off a lot over the last while, but it's not dead. Like, dead is like early 2010s British wrestling. You know what I mean? Like when there was just no one to watch, and it was kind of like there was no dedicated fan bases, and there was nothing really. I don't think British wrestling can die from here on out like fully, because I mean like the fans are there. There's always going to be some talented wrestlers there.
Yeah.
And it's because of how accessible it is now as opposed to years ago. It's like there's always going to be the internet. There's always going to be streaming services. People are always going to want to see something. I feel like it'll decline a bit. Like it won't always be at its absolute peak the whole time. But I feel like it'll go down, it'll go up, it'll go down, it'll go up. But I don't think it'll ever actually die. And I think it's exaggerating. It's a bit over dramatic to say that it's dead. That's just how I feel about it. I don't know.
I totally agree. Look, we've been talking about this since WWE on Low Blows, since WWE came in first to the UK years ago, and I kind of warned them like, hey guys, enjoy everything while you can, because there's going to be a lot. Now, at the same time, that's not to say that things die. Like it's just that like it's not going to be hot. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that like it could still be hot for another few years. Do you know what I mean? But there will be a period where it's not as hot, and there's not like you don't exactly know, like there's no cool promotion or anything like that, like, and that can happen. But then what's going to happen is there's still going to be wrestlers, and here's the benefit as well to like so many people succeeding, and we've seen this happen in Ireland as well, Fight Factory as well, like with all the dearth of people succeeding and then bringing back information, you're getting golden generations to just keep on renewing themselves, you know what I mean? Because like, and once you have that talent flow, you're always going to have wrestlers, so it's going to be good, so it's going to, like, there's going to be shows on somewhere, it's going to be doing well. It mightn't have the buzz, it mightn't have like the it's not at its peak. The peak has passed, you know what I mean? It's gone, and you don't realize you're at a peak until you're after it and looking back at it with perspective, going, oh yeah, that was better then. But like, yeah, it's going to be fine. The British wrestling never died. Like, it didn't die after World of Sport. It just kind of went a bit away, and it was underground, and it was harder to find shows and stuff like that, and there was no main promotion. But then it came back with FWA and the Wrestling Channel, and then it got big again for a while, and then it kind of went, like, a bit low again. But while it was low, you had the likes of Zack Sabre Jr. and Pete Dunne training, and then they became big, and Progress and ICW hit. That's just the way it goes. It goes up and down. It's cyclical. So no, I agree totally. Katey, how are you kind of reading all of this? Like, do you see this as kind of the beginning of the end, or like kind of kind of dying off a little bit, or how are you kind of reading this?
I actually think it's really insulting to the people not signed for people to be going around saying it's dead. Because like for me, if I was going to an indie show, I don't know who's more relevant right now, Aussie Open or Mustache Mountain. For me, it's Aussie Open. Yeah, they've been having more banging matches, in places where I can see them than Mustache Mountain. So, and there's lots of Aussie Opens out there. You have like even people on Ring of Honor contracts because they're still on so many indies. People like Mark Haskins, people like Martina, people like loads of people. Paul Robinson being announced for OTT. There's just so many people still out there who are still so good, and then so many other spaces that can be filled now by up and comers. It's not dead. Yeah. And it's stupid and insulting to say that it is. No, absolutely. No, I agree. And like, yeah, it's going to be fine. There will if you're a wrestling fan, you will always have wrestling shows to go to. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. And who cares if it's a 5,000 seater in Wembley Stadium or if it's 200 people. If it's a good fucking show, it's a good fucking show, and you get to go, and there'll never be a point where there won't be. So it's grand, lads. Relax. And there's great talent, so we're fine. Like, someone made the great point, that latest OTT poster has one import on it. Yeah. Paul Robinson. The rest is more than hype. Martina. Who else is on it? Irish wrestling's kind of a weird one when you point it out. It's almost different. I was going to mention that. It's like, in all that time where WWE have come in and they've done their thing, it's like... People used to always say, British wrestling, Progress, ICW and OTT. I'm kind of like, what's a British wrestling? But I accepted it because at that stage, OTT used so many imports that it was kind of like basically the same thing. Whereas Irish wrestling, we've kind of built ourselves up. Yeah. And now it's its own independent scene. Yeah. So yeah, that's because people, I don't know, I was on Reddit recently after the Jim Smallman thing, and where more people were talking about how it's dead and whatever. But people would always say, well, no, because there's Riptide, I can't remember the other one that people were pointing out, and OTT. And that was one of the big ones. And I feel like the reason OTT is still hot and still fresh is because Irish wrestlers have all built themselves up, and how many are signed? You don't. We don't talk about it in like there's BritWres and then there's Irish wrestling now. You know what I mean? And it's like we're not talking about OTT. Even when it's like even the news that broke this week where for the 15th time it's like
WWE signed wrestlers won't be able to be on VOD things, and it just never seems to actually happen. But it keeps the story keeps breaking. But then it's like, well, that won't be the case with OTT. Now we go, it's not going to be, you know what I mean? Because it's like different. It's a different world. So yeah, we do have to judge it differently. In Irish wrestling, that's definitely not the case. And none of this kind of affects it. So we're grand. Like,
yeah.
We're grand. We're grand. Good news. Anyway, moving on. So I won't go long this week, and don't worry, guys, we won't have any Holocaust poetry at this point of the show. No Martin Luther Rick. I want to talk about The Rock, who retired from wrestling officially this week. Great news for Corporate Kid.
Yeah, do you know who retired him? Just, by the way, just pointed out, it's Eric Rowan.
Big Rowan week, randomly. So The Rock officially retired from the wrestling ring this week, and I wanted to mention it because he was my first favorite wrestler, and I probably wouldn't have gotten trained to be a wrestler if it wasn't for The Rock. I just want to talk about like childhood memories as a fan. Like, it was like, I remember when I was 12, I did a project in school based on the WrestleMania 2000 main event and how it became a fatal four-way from a singles match, and like to the point where we had like 4 different chairs in the ring, and the coup de grace was I got to dress as The Rock. And then it ended with me giving one of the lads who was playing Triple H a rock bottom in the ring, and the teacher was like, you never cleared that with me. He was so great though as well. Like, it was great. I love The Rock because I came in at the time, like, I really got back into wrestling when Stone Cold was blowing up, but Stone Cold just didn't, like, I loved him, but he didn't grab me in the same way he grabbed everyone else. And when The Rock came in, I'm like, that speaks to me. Like, his fucking interviews. Do you remember he used to just, like, that's what got me, like, the pre-match interviews. Do you remember, like, you go backstage and it's like The Rock's just pacing around before a match, and then John Coachman's like, Rock, and then he just stops and he's like, he just looks at him and looks at the camera and like just grabs you straight away. You're in. He was fucking amazing back in the day. Now, Tristan makes jokes about this, and he's right in saying that like later years Rock is a bit weird, you know what I mean, like the clanging and banging era where it's just like, and he's trying to be an inspirational guy on Instagram. He's like your mate who found Instagram and like learned about hashtags and then has to use it all the fucking time, you know what I mean, and he's like, this gets all the likes when you talk about inspirational stuff, you know what I mean, and The Rock just does it. So yeah, he did get a bit weird in later years. They kind of bled into, like when we saw him in WWE and his comebacks against Cian and all that, like it wasn't the same Rock that we saw and we kind of loved. He kind of lost a bit of his edge, and he had to, because he'd become the world's biggest movie star, you know what I mean. But at the same time, like I remember little things like the Judgment Day Iron Man match he had with Triple H in 2000. So I remember learning that match from start to finish, so me and my cousin could do it in like our fucking sitting room. I remember watching that match at first where The Rock lost the belt because The Undertaker came back, and like it was so convolutedly booked that like I watched it in the morning before school. I recorded it to watch it the morning before school, and then I came in like at 8:30 before I left the school in my uniform to my mom, and I was crying my eyes out, and she's like, why, what happened? And I'm like, The Rock lost. And she's like, what happened? But like the booking was so crazy that I didn't understand it, because what happened was like the McMahons came down and then The Undertaker came back, but he wasn't the real Undertaker, he was the American Badass. We hadn't seen that before, so he's like the Undertaker on a bike, but I don't know why. And I'm just like feeling all these emotions, but I cared so much about The Rock winning the belt, like that, like, and having the belt and needing to hold the belt, that like I came in and she's like, what happened? And I'm like, I don't know. But I fucking cared when The Rock was on, and it just kind of inspired me. Like even when I fucking trained to wrestle, like I remember in training my first, because like the lads used to call me Lego, that just used to just be my nickname. Because you're in bits, yeah. So everyone listening to the podcast, I hear your fucking insults. But no, that used to be my nickname when I came in. My first finishing move in training was a thing called the Lego elbow, where it was a copy of the people's elbow, but then when I started to walk, I started walking like a Lego man, so just really like a robot and shit like that. My trainer, Greg Burge, fucking hated it, and it was like, don't ever fucking do that move when I'm around. But little things, like just someone I wanted to be like, someone who made me want to fucking get into wrestling. Like he was so fucking good back in the day. His matches were great. Like even if you think of the Hogan match, which is just two like old kind of part-time wrestlers staring at each other, but we fucking loved it. Like, that was the match. They stared at each other, and at one stage Hogan like started beating him with a weight belt, and then like The Rock gave him a rock bottom at the end. It was the worst match ever, but it was the hottest match ever, and you can watch it forever and love it because like you just feel the crowd and how good these people are at just like making you buy into them. And it's something that I think wrestling misses to a certain degree today, where it's just like someone who could just turn the crowd on its head by just turning his head sideways at the right time in a cool way. Rock made wrestling cool. Like, he made it credible. Like, he walked into movies and then became the biggest fucking movie star because he just had that aura around him. So I am sad to hear that he won't be back wrestling. At the same time, as a Rock fan, I think like he wasn't the Rock that I loved when he was in wrestling. Do you know what I mean? He lost a bit of that cool by getting so mainstream popular and having to act in a certain way. So I'm glad that like I won't have that tarnish. Like, he's not going to be brought back every fucking WrestleMania until I'm fucking sick of him. Do you know what I mean? Like, I get to keep that memory of him as a child, and it wasn't ruined on me as an adult. So I'm happy, like, in a way to see it, but like at the same time, there's a part of me that when you're a kid, and I think in wrestling we can all relate to this as adults watching wrestling, where you're always trying to get back to that stage when you're 12 and it was real and you just like fucking loved every bit of it. You're always trying to get back to that, and The Rock and watching Rock matches even today can get me back to that stage. Like when I watched even The Rock at Backlash fucking 2000, Triple H in the title match, and Steve Austin comes out and interferes like in the middle of it, and The Rock finally gets his championship that we all thought he should have got at WrestleMania 2000. And I did have an addendum in my project in school about that, by the way. But like that, like I could still watch that and feel like a fucking 12-year-old again, and I think that's the feeling we watch wrestling to still try and get every now. And The Rock gave it to me, so I wanted to kind of give him a tribute. Any thoughts on The Rock? You're just happy Rowan ended his career.
Well, I wouldn't be like that. Jesus, that sounds very like.
Like happy Rowan got the bragging rights.
If someone had to end his career, it's one legend to another, passing the torch. You know what I mean? Like it was great. I loved it. I
thought he was retired already, to be fair.
He pretty much was.
I read the news report and I was like, all right. Cool. Because he probably will still be back. Like,
yeah, he'll definitely be back for appearances. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also the article, he's 47.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. He's in better shape now than he was wrestling.
He's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
He's an absolute freak. I can do steroids now as well, so does that.
See, out of that group, I never really liked, not that I didn't like, but I never loved The Rock or Stone Cold.
Right.
I was a Mankind person.
Right.
Out of that like group.
Yeah, you don't like your anti-heroes. You like your heroes pure.
Yeah.
So Mankind was the everyman. I get that. I get that.
So so I don't have the same connection to him that a lot of people do, but I also remember staying up and watching like Sunday Night Heat and the Channel 4 pay-per-views and like seeing The Rock's promo and marking out like. Yeah. But I mean, it's cool.
Okay, there we go. Anyway, look, thanks for the memories, Rock. Genuinely appreciate it. Anyway, moving on. Right, Cobra Keen, me and you can just sit back. We can just relax. This is the part of the show I've been waiting for because there's no time for Harvey's Hot Take. Let's do this!
So there was a bit of a fuss kicked up on Irish wrestling Twitter this week about unprotected chair shots. And I did tweet about unprotected chair shots, and then I was told I was being a bit snaky by not naming and shaming and just talking in general terms, and I agree with that. Thanks, Phil. Always there to keep me grounded. So basically, there was an Irish show up north that had unprotected chair shots. If anyone's wondering why it kicked up this week, it's because of that. So basically, in the main event, there was an unprotected chair shot to the head. And the reason people have kicked off about this is because it's extremely fucking dangerous. Like, we have so much data now about how dangerous concussions and head injuries are that we shouldn't be ignoring it to bash lumps of steel off your head in front of 100 people on an indie show. Yeah. Like, this is ridiculous. And on a family show where there's kids watching, you know what I mean? And like when you're a trainer and you have trainees, like you're setting a bad example. And also it's just needless. There's like the audience are smarter now, right? They know unprotected headshots are bullshit as well. Like, but they will react to a chair shot to the back. They will react to a chair shot to the gut because they know like, oh, that's someone trying to hit someone with a chair, so that's bad. And they'll give the right reaction without someone getting a fucking concussion. And one of the arguments against this was, well, Cody did it on AEW. Well, you know what? fuck that. That's not a good argument because, number one, people have... Like, Cody came out and said that chair was supposed to be gimmicked. Because he doesn't agree with unprotected chair shots. You know what I mean? Like, that was a freak accident there then that he actually busted your man open. And then other people were saying like, oh, but, you know, it's kind of up to the consent of the performer. No, it's not. Because I'll tell you why. Like, if someone did that on a Fight Factory show, I would bring them to the back and I would fucking reef them out of it. Because someone gets seriously injured off that chair shot, right, from a self-promoter terms, that means we probably get our insurance pulled, which means bye-bye Irish wrestling. You know, it just takes one super serious accident to pull the whole thing down. And on another level, we have a duty of care to the people on our shows. So I'm not going to go out there and let someone I've trained or someone that I'm looking after, like, beat the shit out of each other in a way that's going to get hurt. Like, wrestling is risky enough without actually taking these kind of risks. Like, and I know this is rich coming from me with my 2 broken arms and, like, you know, all that. Cian's laughing at me.
Yeah. Always.
I know it's rich coming from me, but like I did a relatively safe move that I've done hundreds of times before, and that was a freak accident, and accidents will always happen in wrestling. The risk of me getting injured off a dive is a lot lower than someone getting injured off a steel chair directly to the head as hard as you can. So why not minimize the bumps where we can and minimize the accidents and keep people safer for longer? Like, it's just absolutely ridiculous in this day and age that people are still doing them and they're still defending them. And I think if you're on a show, if someone suggests that to you, just fucking say no. Like, I was speaking to someone on that show about something unrelated, and like they felt pressured into doing something they weren't comfortable with. Don't pressure people because of this mysterious heat thing you were talking about last week. Like, it's not up to consent. And like, what'll happen is you'll get all these people on indie shows taking these big bumps for that 2-second pop that in reality doesn't matter. And it's just, it's something that really riles me up because it's just something that's so easily avoidable. And if Cian turns around now and says, but they're cool, I'm going to get so thick.
No, I was going to say, I thought you were going to go like the man route and say, if Cody Rhodes jumped off a bridge, would you? I was fully ready for it.
Well, speaking of Cody Rhodes, right, when that happened, we discussed it on Hot Takes. And what did we say in that? What was the fucking message? We said, because Cody's done this, there are fucking Egypt wrestlers out there who are like, I give my life for the biz, man. I give my life for the business, man. I don't care about anything. I give up my health because I love this business, man. There are fucking Egypt wrestlers on small indie shows who saw Cody do it, and that's why Cody doing it was bad. By using him as an example, you're actually reinforcing that argument because it was bad for him to do it because he's supposed to set an example. And now, whether that chair shot was supposed to be gimmicked or not, people don't know that. Even indie wrestlers don't know that. And they're like, oh, it's cool to do chair shots again. And then they're going to be influenced and they're going to get hurt because they're not going to do it in a safe way. And that's why it's irresponsible. Let's not make this cool. It's fucking stupid. It is fucking stupid, lads. Cop the fuck onto yourselves already.
It is kind of cool, though.
It's not cool. It's not cool. We need to get rid of this in wrestling. Like, as I said before, I've spoken to people on different shows who feel pressured into these kind of like big bumps and big spots just because they don't want to say no, they don't want to get heat, or they feel like they need to do that to stand out. You don't. You just need to learn how to work a match. Yeah. Like, and you can do that safely without fucking knocking yourself out. Like,
this needs to be repeated and repeated again, and it needs to be for that exact reason, because then the argument that, and we've been in these conversations where someone is like, I don't do it because like it's not actually that hard, and then it's like, but they don't do it, and it's like, oh, because WWE say you won't do it, and you get all these arguments. It needs to be said and reinforced to people that that's bollocks. If you hear someone saying that, they're fucking wrong, and this is the way. Like, if you say no to doing this, protect your body. Your body is your business. Like, that's it. Like,
look how many people off the ECW roster are dead, injured, addicted to drugs, all the rest of it, because they didn't have the knowledge that we have now. Yeah. And now we have the knowledge from them doing that. It's like that tweet Justy put out, which was great, about how he used to do stuff like this, and now he should be an example to the younger generation because he's in bits from it. Yeah. You know? So I just, like, just learn from the past, learn from the mistakes. There's no need for any of this. Like, hardcore matches can still be spectacular and done safely.
Yeah, like a fucking chair shot to the back, like you said, on a fucking small indie show. You get the clack, you get the fucking clang off the chair on back, and it's like, oh, he really hit him, and that's it. You get your pop anyway, and no one's dead. You know what, these wrestlers, I was only thinking about this the other day, they remind me of, you know, when you're growing up and you see all these news reports like, oh, so and so injured his neighbour because they were doing pile drivers in the garden. Yeah. These are just these kids growing up. Yeah, and now they're on indie shows. Yeah, it is. Yeah, like that's all it is. Yeah, it is. And it's just, like I've spoken before, how we're not a regulated industry. We kind of have to self-regulate. Yeah. And I think sometimes calling stuff like this out is us. Yeah. Regulating ourselves. And even if we're like, you know, beating a dead horse, like it's still being done, so we'll need to keep on saying it. So anyway, look, hopefully this is the last time we'll talk about it in Irish wrestling. I fear that it may not be, though. But we'll deal with that when we come to it. Anyway, look, we're going to talk about more of the in-ring from the week. Although, I think this wins the award for the top answer in the next segment. We're going to talk about the bad from the week first, because it's time for... Say something stupid. Worst from the week. Though, like I said, I think we've already covered it. In at number 5, talk to me about NXT. It's just a small thing. I'm just getting really annoyed by these lads not following the rules of wrestling again. Okay. So, like, it was Pete Dunne and Roderick Strong in the main event, and, like, Pete Dunne won with a finger snap. Like, that's not allowed. Like, it's just not, like... Is it against the rules? To break someone's fingers. Well, what's the rule that it's breaking? Like, it's a bit anticlimactic from another standpoint. Well, it is, because, like, he's been thrown that in the heat as well for years now. Yeah. So, like, the fact that he bet Roderick Strong after, like, a 15-minute match with it, shit, like, I was just kind of like, oh. I think Team Prick got a 1 count off a finger snap, like, you know what I mean? Roderick Strong should do better. I can't remember what it was. He broke the finger or he was pulling them apart and got the submission. Right. I'm pretty sure that's it. Like, I'm a fairly qualified referee now, guys. Oh, God. I'm looking out for these small things. Like, I would have disqualified. Oh, no. This is the new thing now. Katey rules Harvey. Oh. Foxy, can you please give me a second opinion on this? I know you're listening. There you go, Foxy. Right. We need your ruling, okay? And at number 4, one that just made me laugh more than... And it was actually grand. Like, it was a grand segment. The Rollins and Lesnar segment. So, basically... you know, Lesnar came out bragging about beating the shit out of Rollins last week. And, like, they're selling, and like, Paul Heyman came out and he's like, look, Seth, we know you're back there. We know you're going to, like, come out and stuff like that. And, you know, we've all seen it. This is an angle that's been done a million times in wrestling where, like, the babyface comes out and they've got tape on their ribs, so you know they're fucked, like, because they need a tape. You know what I mean? And the miracle cure that is putting tape on a wound, like, you know what I mean? It's essentially a plaster he has on him. But no, he doesn't have tape on it. But, like, he is injured still from last week. He's broken his ribs or something. But, like, we're also led to believe that he flew himself there and that, like, he travelled and was able to get to the arena and all. And then, like, his music hits to interrupt the promo and he walks out immediately like a fucking paraplegic. It was so... Watch it back if you haven't seen it already. Like, he's walking like 1 mile an hour. Like, he'd literally just been savagely beaten. And it's like, how did you get here when you walk like that? Because he was like... He's just overselling everything, and it's like, that's a week-old injury, man. How have you not learned how to cope better? Like, Katie Harvey broke both her arms and she was more fucking mobile than Rollins was. After a week, it's like, it took him like 20 minutes to get to the ring, and it's like, you need to stop selling because they need to take an ad break. Come on, man. This is fucking ridiculous. It was hilarious, though. It popped me big, and I was watching this on the bus as well. Like, don't fucking laugh. Do not laugh. Like, or everyone will look, and then they'll see you're watching wrestling, and that's a whole other conversation. It was amazing, though. In at number 3, what's going on SmackDown? Like, SmackDown was really good this week. These are just 2 tiny things that upset me slightly. Not even upset me. I kind of laughed. Like, Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon had a great segment. Kevin Owens show, Shane was the guest. Like, good little promo. Beatdown was deadly. Like, I loved it. But, like, they're cutting this promo and you know they're going to fight, right? And they're basically just like, why don't we give them a preview tonight? And then instead of punching each other, they both just turn around and start tidying the ring. Like, they both just start lifting. Yeah. Like, they both just start lifting the chairs out of the way, lifting the easels out of the way, and then, like, look at each other, now I'm ready, and, like, start beating each other up. And I was like,
what? Like,
Do you know what it was? It was two lads who were agreeing to fight in the pub, and they're buying time because they're like, someone's going to break this up. If I just buy enough time, someone's going to go, lads, don't, no.
I'm like, you're just so politely tidying up. And I was like, maybe they need the space for a big thing. No, they didn't. And then, like... We know the tables are kind of gimmick, the announcers' tables. Like, that one was absolutely not. And, like, Shane trying to tip it over as if it's, like, a truck, like, squatting underneath it like world's strongest man. Like, I was just like, why are the little things so weird in this segment? And, like, I have this weird thing that, like, if you're using a table, right, do an impact move on it. One of my pet hates is like, remember when Paige used to do her submission move on a table? And you're like, how is that different? How is that different to the...
How is the table enhancing this move anyway?
Like, I think Natalya did it by doing the sharpshooter on the ramp. I'm like, what does that do? Like, except leave you more vulnerable to someone running down the ramp line. So they kind of did that as well. Like, they just did like a really gentle stunner that came nowhere near breaking the table. And I'm like, what was the point? Like, why did you just do that?
The commentators have to work there, you know what I mean? You're like intruding on their space, which isn't really...
It's okay, they tidied the desk up too before they started using it.
They're like, here's your notes.
And the second thing is so tiny. But remember we were talking before about Ali being a crap superhero?
Yeah.
So Ray gets attacked, like proper attacked. He's down. The refs are already out. Ali legs it down the ramp. Are you okay, man? And then like attacks Dolph Ziggler. And I'm like, there was a good 5 minutes between Ray getting attacked and you like making the save here. Like, you could have been quicker. Like, I would not like to be in trouble when he's around.
The damage is done. Like, he's a beaten man.
The attitude is okay, so it, you know, I
someone will be there to check on you after the crime is committed. Like, it's not, I'm kind of hoping that this is the gimmick. Like, they're just really subtly bringing it in where he's a crap superhero.
He's just always slightly too late.
But you know what? His heart's in the right place, and that's what matters. You know what I mean? He's got heart. In at number 2, again, we're nitpicky as fuck this week, but that's good news for wrestling. And also, the nitpicky ones are kind of more fun some weeks. Again, just a little observation. Natalya and Becky are still selling, so they're working a submission match. Although that was clunkily brought up last week when Natalya was cutting a promo, and like we spoke about this. This is well documented in Low Blows lore. Natalya, the problem with her is she's such a mom. She's just in every way, she's just a mom, and like she can't, like, when she tries to be serious or tough or anything, it's just completely undercut by her momness. And like she has mom, even when she was challenged. So it's a submission match on Sunday against Becky Lynch, and it's pretty cool because it's like the sharpshooter against the disarmer. It's like, you know, these are now two like protected fucking legendary fucking moves in WWE history. So like, yeah, I'm totally into the concept of the match. But Natalya, in setting up this challenge, she's like, this is last week, she's like, yeah, well, Becky, I would challenge you to a submission match. The sharpshooter against the disarmer. And you're like, oh, cool. I'm actually, that makes sense. That's what you two guys have in common. That's a dynamic. Brilliant. But you probably wouldn't accept. So I don't challenge you. And it's just like, what? And then this week they came on and it's like, yeah, it's a submission match. Yeah, no. Then this week they do dueling interviews, and Becky's interview was brilliant. Like, it was kind of like the Rock interview where it's like kind of backstage, and Becky walks in off the screen and she comes in hot, and then she cuts an amazing promo and sells you on the match, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm fucking hot. And then they go back to Natalya and they do a counterpoint interview, and literally it's like, Natalya, your response. And it's like, this is a really cool, fresh way of selling the match, you know, like point for point interviews, like. Then Natalya spoke, and her mom insults came out because she's like, well, Becky, yeah, and like Becky's like, I'm going to break your arm at the disarmer, and she's like, well, Becky, you couldn't break my arm because even if you break my arm, I'm not going to tap. And it's like, what? Like, what was your point? Like, but if she breaks your arm, she's still broken your arm. Like, that doesn't prove she can't break her arm, Natty. And it's like, you're probably still going to tap. Come on, Natty. It's just like, yeah, it undercuts. But look, it's a little thing that I actually enjoy again. So, like, I hope she still does it. And I hope we can watch out for it. But in at number 1, one that got Cian roaring hot. Like, he is seething over there.
I'm raging, fuming, I'm fucking bollocks.
Let's talk about MLW.
Right. MLW had the Spirit Squad on this week. And this is not an MLW thing. This is a Spirit Squad thing. It was only 2 members of the Spirit Squad. It was Kenny and Mikey, I think it was. Same 2 that were on Smackdown when they returned that one time. And basically, they did an open workout, which is a really cool thing to give to the fans. But then the Von Erichs came out and beat the shit out of them. And that was that. But what really gets me heated it's not MLW, it's the Spirit Squad. And basically, it's when you go back to when they started. You know what I mean? You had Kenny in there, Mitch, Nicky, Mikey, all the boys, right? All the gang, the lads.
Right.
And what really bothers me is the fact that they just didn't stick together. If you look at all the individuals now and where they ended up going, all right, Dolph Ziggler ended up doing pretty well for himself, but what about the other 4 lads? All very talented, but none of them made it to the top. The Spirit Squad could have been like the Bullet Club. The Spirit Squad could have been the very top of wrestling. They were, I think universally, everyone kind of agrees that they were like one of the best factions of all time. And yet, despite this, like, there's only 2 of them now. Why? Because they didn't stick together. If they if they all had the loyalty that Kenny and Mikey have now, they'd all be successful. And it really gets me. It really upsets me when I think about like how far they could have gone and where they are now. I'm delighted they're signed. I'm delighted that Kenny and Mikey have a chance to prove themselves in MLW. We could see them against the Country Unit. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But for me, it's like think about where you could have been and where you are now. And it's just loyalty. Where is it? You know what I mean? Loyalty's dead. I'm against modern wrestling. I'm not happy with it.
I'm against modern wrestling.
No loyalty in modern wrestling.
This has turned you against an era of professional wrestling.
Yeah, no loyalty. And now look where we're at. You know what I mean? Like,
where are we?
2 Spirit Squad members out of 5, and they're not even doing anything, even though they could be.
I don't think that represents where we're at in judging wrestling in 29. Okay.
No, it does, and I'm just upset.
This is okay, right? Don't try not retire over here, like Jesus.
You know, I might just quit wrestling forever. I don't actually wrestle, but I might start wrestling just so I can quit, just to show how angry I am. Because the Spirit Squad just aren't where they should be.
One match dressed exactly as you are, but at the end of the match you take off your hoodie and you leave it in the ring, and then you're like, and then you have to awkwardly come back and you're like, it's actually raining outside. Yeah. I'm gonna need that. Jeez, King, calm down over there. Anyway, look, we're going to talk about the good from the week. Fortunately, there was much more of that because it's time for Best of the Week. In at number 6, I want to talk about Raw. One moment, a lot of people are kind of like rolling their eyes at and stuff, but like it just worked. It was cool. It was a nice way to end it, and Raw's ratings bumped up as a result of it, even though it was unannounced. They had Miz TV be the main event, and it was the contract signing for Ziggler and Miz at SummerSlam, which wasn't a built-up match, so instantly you're like, right, something's up. And if you'd read online, Dave Meltzer broke that this was happening a few days beforehand. It actually sounds like a funny story where Meltzer's like, apparently on a podcast last week, I think this is it, on a podcast last week, he's like, I don't know, I don't think they're going to have like Ziggler wrestle Miz. I think it's going to be like, they'll probably bring back Goldberg or something. And this is how the story broke. WWE then rang him going, how did you know? And then he's like, I didn't. And then they're like, oh. And then he reported, so that's what's happening, and that's how I know. But yeah, they had Miz TV, and Shawn Michaels came out with Miz, and you're like, is Michaels going to be the referee? Even though, like, again, a lot of us knew where it was going. But yeah, Ziggler came out and like signs the contract, and then Miz goes, "Yeah, we're gonna have a great match next week on Raw." And then he's like, "Because you're not wrestling me at SummerSlam." This bit was kind of awkward, and I do like now. Here's the problem as well. I need to see Michael Ziggler. I need to see that match. They planted that in my head, and I'm like, I want to see it now. Like for better or worse, like you've made me need it now. And then like Michaels gets in Ziggler's face, and he just turns around and he goes, it's not me. Then Goldberg's music hits. And again, like, we can roll our eyes and get smart and be like, oh, well, did you see the match against the Undertaker or whatever. But this moment worked. It was a cool surprise. Goldberg came out. The crowd, see, what made it for me is when you see a genuine hot crowd reaction in WWE these days, it fucking stands out because we don't get it that often. The crowds aren't like the Attitude Era crowds. So we got that kind of reaction. Goldberg came out. He was feeling it. He was nice and loose, and he just came out and did the "You're next," and like it was fucking cool. It worked for me. I really liked it.
Wouldn't it be way better if Meltzer just didn't spoil it though?
Yeah, absolutely.
That really gets to me. Like, because obviously it was a great moment. I fucking loved it, but I wish I wasn't waiting for it to happen. I wish I didn't know. Because obviously, as you said, like, if that's the main segment, that something's going to go down. And I literally would not have thought of Goldberg in the slightest if he didn't mention it. Yeah. Like, it's bollocks. But
it would have been a great surprise. But look, also, I'm not going to hold it again. That's his job. That's literally his job, like, you know what I mean? And people pay for that shit, so he's got to do it. So, yeah, but I do get you. It would have been a great surprise. Look, and for me, the segment worked. Anyway, on a similar note, let's talk about SmackDown.
I don't know what's gone on with me lately, but I think I'm a Dolph Ziggler fan now.
Oh.
After, like, ages of shit-talking him, like, he keeps finding his way into my This Is Awesome, because this is about him as well.
Yeah.
And it was such a simple way to build their match, because they don't have a lot of time. Goldberg's music hits, big pop from the crowd, excited they're going to see Goldberg. Nah. Ziggler doing Goldberg's entrance, and I fucking loved it. Like, and like, you could tell he was marking out doing it as well. Like, it's just such a simple way to build a match, such a simple little fuck you. And like, that's what I think's been great about Raw and SmackDown lately. It's all these small little things that they're doing again to like stir up interest in the match. Like, even with Trish and Charlotte's promo, like, oh, here's a video of my highlights. Oh no, Trish has switched it. You know, I love that. Well, I went back to the video production truck and I changed it. And it lets all the newer fans know who Trish is. You know, it was a really clever way of doing it, I think. So I just love both of them little ways of furthering the feuds with not a lot of time left.
This is it. Like, if you look at the SummerSlam card, and we are going to talk about it, it's not like... It doesn't jump off the page at you, do you know what I mean? But then when you actually get into the feuds and how they've been building it, they've done a good job on it. Like, they're meaty stories, do you know what I mean? And there's a new one at it that I think at some stage we'll get to, like, and it's an interesting one where it's just like, they're just trying again, you know what I mean? They're trying, they're putting a bit of thought into it, and it is appreciated. Anyway, in at number 4, let's talk about Impact.
Yeah, so I've always said that, like, I'm a big intergender wrestling person, and that, like, I'd rather, instead of having a women's division, to just have, like, no division and just kind of everyone fights everyone type of thing. But if there is going to be a women's division, at least I don't want it to be like an afterthought. Like, if you watch, like, Ring of Honor or WWE, it's like a lot of promotions, it's kind of an afterthought. Even MLW don't even have women. Like, they just forgot they existed or something. I don't know why they don't have women, but...
Did they even have, like, valets or anything? Is there
one,
anyone?
Aria Blake.
Really?
And then a couple of backstage interviewers. That's it.
Oh, that's not a good
it's
look
not
in
good.
2019.
It's not good. I don't know what that's
look,
about.
Yeah.
But and like, but even in WWE, you know, they have a lot of like female wrestlers. But then it's like you see Ember Moon fighting at SummerSlam, and it's like, or even if you go back to WrestleMania when it's like Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda, the reason Ember Moon in the main event's a bit weird is because they've done nothing to build up anyone else in the meantime. So it's just like, oh, Natalya, oh, Ember. Alright.
Even though they're actually substantially good matches, like when you think about them, like Ember against Bayley in particular, I'm like, oh, that's a good match.
That should be fucking dead. I should be buzzing for that.
Yeah,
but I'm not, because they can build her up.
Yeah.
Impact is the exact opposite of that, and it's something. And well, first of all, they have an intergender wrestling storyline with Tessa Blanchard and Sami Callihan, and it's class. It had a deadly match at Slammiversary. They're going to have another one later on. But this past week, she took on Madman Fulton, who was a monster, and it was a great match, and I really enjoyed it. But also, there's like loads of storylines happening in the women's division at any given time. Like right now, there's obviously Tessa and Sami. Then there's Jessica Havoc going for Taya Valkyrie's title in a storyline that also involves Sue Young and Rosemary. Then further down the card, there's another storyline involving Kiera Hogan, Madison Rayne, and Jordan Grace. And it's a very important part of the show. It's very prominent. It's like it's a very fair split. And I feel like when you look at AEW coming in and all this, there's a lot going on in wrestling. Impact are kind of like, they're not really getting talked about as much. Yeah. They're kind of fading into the background a little bit. They need to do something right that no one else is really doing right. They need to do something kind of different that helps them kind of stand out for one reason or another. And this is it for me. Like that's one of the reasons, one of the big reasons to watch Impact right now is because the women's wrestling on it is class.
And it's one of those things when you see the likes of Jordan Grace, can we still talk about her like that? When you see the likes of Jordan Grace, like pledging her future to Impact, you know what I mean? You're like, oh, they're buying in as well. That makes a difference. I know there was, what was her name? Scarlett Bordeaux was trying to get out of her contract, but that was money reasons as well. Do you know what I mean? So like when you see the talent like Jordan Grace buying in, when you sense like, you could get hired by WWE or you could get hired by AEW. We know that. Like, they would bite the arm off her to get her in. Like, but when she's pledging her future to Impact, it's like, all right, yeah, look. So from an outsider's perspective, that reflects too. It's just, how can they do something? They need to do something to grab people's attention. Although Sami Callihan against Tessa is doing that, so I guess it's working.
And also, you mentioned Scarlett Bordeaux. They spend months building up Scarlett Bordeaux. Like, that was another storyline in there. And they're just great at building up characters and building up stories and feuds and matches. And especially now that the Undead Realm shit is over. Because people used to always say that the Impact Women's Division was stacked, and it was. But the Undead Realm thing was kind of like... So, yeah. But, like, it's over now, and it's great what they've got going on. So, yeah, I recommend it.
Okay, so there you go, guys. Look, if you're one of these fucking keyboard warriors who gets on and is like, oh, women's wrestling, if you are one of them, then support Impact. You're getting told right now, like, this is your place to go if you want that. So well done to them, and credit where it's due. In at number 3, this one I totally agree with. I've seen this one and I don't get much of a chance to watch NXT with all the rest, especially during G1, but I totally agree with this from NXT.
I've been waiting for this for so long. I have just been.
I thought of you when I saw this. I'm like, Katey is going to mark that fuck out.
I've been waiting for so long.
Yeah.
So Tyler Breeze is wrestling. Is it Jackson Riker? Is that one of them? One of them.
That's one of them.
The one that used to be Gunner.
Yeah, that's.
I got it right.
I actually don't know. I'm guessing.
I think it is.
So many new names.
And like, it's a grand little match, and then like the numbers game, and Tyler Breeze is getting bet up, and then like, this is my favorite thing, right? When you hear the crowd roar, but you haven't seen it yet. So they, like, you can just see people looking up the entranceway, and you can hear the swell of the crowd. You're like, oh my god, is it? Yes, it's Fandango. And I fucking marked the shit out.
Yeah.
And like, he looked great.
Yeah.
And like, he wasn't dressed like Fandango. He was dressed like, remember Johnny Curtis? Like from NXT, was it Redemption or was it season 2? I can't remember. Both?
Yeah.
Both, like...
Oh, Keane knows his early season
I know,
NXT.
that's real NXT. Fuck this, like, FCW bullshit. That was real NXT.
Oh, yeah, I agree completely. It's on the network. I would love to rewatch it.
I think it is, yeah.
I would rewatch the shit out of that. Yeah, and, like, they did this weird, like, pause where, like, oh, shit, is he actually going to turn on Tyler Breeze? But nah, they just hugged because they're bros, and now he's back to save him, and I am so fucking excited.
Nice. Do they have a match to take over? Is it announced, or are they going to build that?
No, nothing was announced yet. I'd say they'll build it.
Them
but I
think Street Profits. Oh, think of the promos, man. That'd be fucking class.
It's going to be so good, and I'm so happy the two of them are back on NXT where they can like actually have really good matches again. Like, I just think it's a great move. I don't think it's a demotion at all going back down to NXT. I think it's just a different opportunity.
It's a shot in the arm for these guys. What the fuck were they going to do on Raw or Smackdown?
Yeah,
like,
I'm so excited.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, fantastic stuff. Anyway, in at number 2, right, it's G1 time. In at number 2, but like, because I've been assured by Corporate Keane that in at number 1 is something big. I don't know what it is, but we will get to it.
Way better than G1. Way better.
But that's saying a lot, so I'm trusting you with this. I'm trusting you,
all
okay? Right. In at number 2, G1. So we're going to... The way I'm going to do this is I've been avoiding spoilers for a while, and I'm going to keep spoiler-free for this, for anyone who hasn't caught up. But I'm going to tell you, like, if you do the maths, because it's the last weekend of G1 this week, and it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday morning at 7 o'clock the final show starts as well, which is going to be nuts after SummerSlam, because I'm going to watch it live. Like, and I don't know what that's going to mean for my sleeping pattern, but I don't care. I'll deal with it. The matches you need to watch from this week. Yano against Moxley from last Thursday. Moxley coming into this undefeated as well. And Yano, if you know Yano, you know this is going to be class. You get to watch Moxley kind of be more comedic side, because like, he's been a badass. He's been undefeated coming into this match. So like, he gets to play the straight man, but also kind of play with the, like, we saw, he has comedic chops. We saw it in WWE, so he got to mess around. A very fun match and well worth your time. From Saturday, Evil against Ospreay is well worth the watch. Evil, a low-key kind of breakout from this year. Now, we say that every year, though. He's almost getting like Ishii, where he always has great matches, but he's really wrestling his ass off. And his match with Okada as well today was fantastic. But the main event, and I sneered at this because they had Ibushi against Tanahashi, which was a rematch of the final last year on Saturday, and it was the co-main of the night. But I was like, why is this the co-main? Because the loser of this, and Tanahashi beat Ibushi in the final last year, the loser of this will get knocked out essentially. So like, I was like, this is your main event. Like, why is Sanada and Okada in the main event? Then they proved me instantly wrong. I'm not a Sonata guy. Rumors of him going to WWE as well. I'm like, no, he would not work in WWE. For me, he doesn't work in New Japan. It was Sonata against Okada. The story going into this match, Sonata has never beaten Okada before, and he's wrestling him in his hometown. And, you're like, that's the main event. I see which way this is going. All I'll say, watch this match. It's so worth going out of your way for, and I'm not a fan of Sonata. Just watch the clock on this match. And, they just play with you. It's it's really good. That's all I can say. Just watch the clock. Keep an eye on it. They announce times as you go on in New Japan. Like, they announce how much is left in the match and so on. It's fantastic. It's really, really good. Then on Monday you have, now it's getting to the business end. So all the matches that matter, you want to be watching them. So Switchblade against Moxley as well. Moxley, if he gets one more win at this stage, he's like won the group and he's knocked out, he's won the block and he's knocked out Switchblade and he's knocked out Naito and he's wrapped it up early. Switchblade against Moxley is a really good match. Naito against Takagi as well, the battle of two LIJ members. So the first time ever they've met, it's like Takagi is like, could he be the alpha dog in Los Ingobernables? But this is Naito's stable and they're battling for the first time in G1. It's fantastic. They're the two last matches on Sunday as well. So the stakes are, and again, this is where it gets a bit spoilery, so try not to do the match and just trust my word on it, right? In Block A, and this isn't including today's action, alright? In Block A, if Evil beat Okada this morning, it'd leave the door open for Kenta and Evil as well as Ibushi, provided that all of them also won, heading into Saturday, which is the last day of block action. So, Evil on Saturday faces Lance Archer. Kenta faces Zack Sabre Jr., but it looks, in all honesty, like it's all going to come down to Okada against Ibushi. Okada has lost, I think... He's lost one match so far in the G1, alright? And Ibushi has lost two. So basically, if Ibushi beats him, they'd be equal on the block. But Ibushi would have won the head-to-head. So it looks like it's all going to come down to Okada versus Ibushi, winner take all. So I love those matches in G1 as well, when it's like all the action has been building towards this. Block B is a bit different though, because this is one of these things where everyone's in contention and every match looks like it's going to matter. Now we don't know because there's a round of action on Thursday as well. So the way it stands is, if Moxley wins out, if he wins his last two remaining matches, he's won. If he wins only one of them, Switchblade can beat him. Moxley is wrestling Goto Thursday, Moxley is wrestling Goto on Thursday, and he's wrestling Juice Robinson on Sunday. Juice Robinson, by the way, is a rematch of Moxley's his first match in New Japan where he won the US Championship. So Juice is going to be wanting to spoil him and get a rematch. Like he'll get a rematch of the US title if he beats him on Sunday. Still in the hunt for this, you've got Ishii, who's got Takagi on Thursday and Taichi on Sunday. You've got Goto, who's got Takagi on Sunday, and of course Moxley on Thursday, but he'll need to beat Moxley to still be in the hunt. But it looks like it's going to come down to either Moxley or Naito, who's fighting Cobb on Thursday, and Switchblade Jay White, who's fighting Juice Robinson on Thursday, and Naito and Switchblade are facing each other on the final night. So it's complicated, I know, but what's going to happen is Sunday morning, a lot of wrestling's going to happen. Every match in the block is going to mean something, and it's all going to play into each other. This is one of the best experiences in wrestling, because it's like, do you know when it's like fucking the World Cup and you've got your permutations and you've got like, if they score another goal now, then they go through, but they need to score an away goal because blah, blah, blah. It's really complicated, but you're following it along live and you're really invested in all the stakes. It's one of the funnest things. And then Monday, the two block winners face, and the G1 final it's kind of like SummerSlam, where, or maybe Survivor Series, I'd say, where they're gonna start revealing their hand for Wrestle Kingdom next year, but they're not, after the G1 finals, you can start to see the card kind of build, but you don't know what the card is, but they just start kind of revealing their hand. Do you know the way it's Survivor Series? It's when the Road to WrestleMania starts, and maybe you'll know one or two matches where they might be going, but you don't know, and you start fantasy booking in your head. So the G1 finals, I'd recommend all of that show if you have the fucking heart for it after SummerSlam on Sunday. So it's getting to the really good stage, and we're going to wrap it up all next week, and we're going to have spoilers next week, by the way, guys, so make sure you're caught up. But that was not the number one, and I fucking loved all of that.
What's number one? Do you know
Corporate Cian has told me that in at number one, all he's written in the little doc we have is trust me.
Yeah.
So, Cobra Keen, what is better than one of the most exciting weeks of wrestling in the year, the G1 Climax?
It comes from Smackdown. Because
oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. The best. The fucking peak of wrestling. Wrestling has peaked. And it's, I don't even know where to start, right? Obviously, someone tried to kill Roman. And, that comes with it has its ups and downs. I'm not saying I condone the action of whoever did it. But
I think you do.
Yeah, I'm sure whoever it was has their reasons. Anyway, they tried to kill Roman twice. Roman's trying to find out who it is. Last segment. There's a tag match in the main event. It's New Day versus Bryan and Rowan. Great to see them back wrestling again. And after the match, it cuts to the big screen. Roman Reigns walks into the locker room and he's like, everyone out. And they all left. It's like, oh shit. Now, one thing I will say, right, about this, Roman Reigns looks really fucking cool in this. Yeah. Did you see this, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
Roman Reigns looks so fucking cool in this. This is the best I've ever seen.
When everyone scurries off, you're like, oh shit.
And then he goes, not you, buddy. And I was like, oh shit. Like, and you can hear the crowd as well if you watch it back, like, oh.
Okay, hold on. I need to stop you there. Did I miss something? Why was he sure Buddy Murphy would be the guy he needs to question? Was there something that I missed?
He saw CCTV or something.
Right, okay.
I think he explained it in it, didn't he?
Yeah, basically, but there was evidence that Buddy Murphy was there.
Right.
That he saw something.
Right.
So he may or may not have done it himself.
Did we know this
No.
before? So that was just completely random.
So what we knew beforehand was the forklift knocked it over. The forklift was driven by the normal operator, but then they discovered the operator was out sick.
Oh.
So that's all we know. And
Right.
that Roman Reigns has been looking for this mysterious operator ever since.
And it's not Samoa Joe from Raw. We learned that. It's probably not Samoa Joe.
No, because he was there when his car got hit.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So he grabs Buddy and he's like,
Wait, hang on. Is he looking for the forklift driver or the person who hit the car? Or are they the same person?
well, you can assume they're the same person. It'd be a bit unfortunate if two people out.
That's true. As soon as I was saying it, I realised what I was
Two
saying.
separate, completely unrelated attempted murder attempts in 1 week.
Okay.
Like Donald Trump doesn't get that shit.
I see what I've said. I understand where the issue is.
I accept your feedback.
Right. So he got.
No, let's hold on. You're a manager. You manage people. You run a wrestling school.
I like to see the good in people, and maybe it was two separate accidents.
Okay.
That's what I would have thought until I saw SmackDown this week when he grabs Buddy Murphy and he's like, do you know who did it? Do you know who did it? And at this stage, everyone's gone. It's just him and Buddy. And Buddy's like, no, I don't know. It's like, do you know? I'm not going to ask you a second time or whatever it was he said. It was really cool. And then Buddy's like, well, I don't know. But if I did, I wouldn't tell you. And it was like, oh, and that was kind of cool because he was looking like a bit of a bitch at the start. I was kind of like, I like Buddy Murphy. It's going to hopefully look a bit cool or whatever.
Yeah.
So he said that, and then Roman beat the fuck out of Buddy Murphy. Like, it was vicious. It was like he had him up against the wall, fucking forearms. I was like, oh shit, maybe he's gonna kill him. Like, I was like, if he kills Buddy, does that kind of like justify the person who went to kill him then? I would say it does, personally. But anyway, he had Buddy Murphy, and Buddy's like, it was Rowan, and I was like, yeah. Because I said this to Nicola before. I was like, it's Rowan.
You said it on the show last week. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
You were joking. It was like, it was a joke. I wrote it in my diary.
No, I was dead serious. I thought it was going to be Rowan on behalf of Brian, but this is where it gets interesting. He's like, it was Rowan. And the confused look on Rain's face, like, Rowan? I was like, as in Daniel Bryan and Rowan. And he's like, but Daniel Bryan wasn't there. It was just Rowan. And then it cuts back, and Rowan's just like, he had a look on his face of him going, did he say Roman or Rowan? I didn't quite catch that. He just had a look.
Yeah, it was non-reactive. It was like, it's not like I've been caught. It's like, well, I don't know what I'm looking at.
I was like, oh yeah, I did do that actually.
It's like he's suffered temporary memory loss.
It's like, did I try to kill Roman? Oh, I did. Oh, fuck it anyway, like. But the best part was, and this is where it gets really interesting. Brian looked confused.
Yeah.
On my genuine prediction was that it was Rowan, but that Brian was going to be, like the person who obviously like he did it for or whatever.
Yeah.
But now Brian's like, Well, I mean, we don't know. This thing, there's so many layers to it. You don't know the role of everyone involved. Brian's like, I didn't ask him to do that. Jesus.
I just want to save the environment.
I mean, that wasn't even for the environment. The forklift let out emissions. I'm not a big fan of that role. You know what I mean?
Dude, that's not what we're fighting for.
Yeah. Like, it's really... Could Rowan be working for someone else now?
Ooh.
Could it be his own issue, or could it be for a certain Fiend's issue with Rowan? There's so many ways it could go, but it looks like Rowan did it, and I'm just saying he's fully justified. I know normally I wouldn't accept murder in the workplace. It's a bit, it's not... As a manager, would you accept if one of your employees...
No,
I mean,
to be fair.
Yeah, I don't think most people would. But obviously Rowan has
murder and unprotected headshots is what I, don't...
No, but in fairness to Rowan, he didn't... There was no unprotected chair shots there. It was like... he might have tried to kill him, but at least he didn't give him a concussion, you know what I mean? So, that's good. Either way, this was genuinely the most... Like, I was fucking buzzing, I'm not gonna lie. I died laughing because of how, like... It was really well executed, but it was just so, like... It just did make me laugh because it just... Like, it was Rowan, like, it's cool, like, funny, but, like, in a really good way, though. Like, I was genuinely, like, I'm buzzing now. I'm so excited for SummerSlam. I think SummerSlam, realistically, it'll probably be just, like, a tag match with, like, Reigns and Joe against Bryan and Rowan.
I think it's going to be, like, a segment. I think, like, I think there's too many matches and there's too short a time. I think it's just going to be, like, he confronts him.
No, I think it's going to be a segment that leads to that tag match, and that'll be it. I think the main shit, I think it's going to happen on, like, Raw and Smackdown and stuff.
Yeah. Like, I think this is going to continue, like.
Yeah. But and I'm delighted they didn't, like, rush to it because it's SummerSlam either. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm looking forward. I'm saying this off air. I'm looking forward to Raw and SmackDown. I'm gonna watch the shit out of those shows.
Yeah.
I haven't felt like this about Raw and SmackDown. Maybe since I was like 8.
Yeah.
Like, I'm now, like, obviously, like, I'm into the pay-per-views and stuff, but never really Raw and SmackDown. Whereas now, like, this is going to be so fucking good. And it's not just because of the Raw and stuff, obviously, but that, like, it helps a lot.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's just, there's so much to it. It's going to be great.
That's awesome. Good stuff. Anyway, that is the in-ring from the week. We're going to preview the weekend ahead and what's coming up on Sunday. But first, guys, this week in the Low Blows Network, Talk Nerdy to Me returned this week with nerdy news, looking back at the big San Diego Comic-Con revelations and loads of Cats talk as well. Not talking about Cats in general, Cats the movie, though. I would have listened to Jerry talk about Cats like it was just a show where he's talking about his favourite types of cats. It's always a good listen, so check that out. We're also going to have Ask Low Blows this week on memorable classes we've had before and what we do with a DeLorean. What we're going to hypothetically name a hypothetical Irish wrestling tag team so they can hypothetically buy merch. Plus, we decide once and for all who is the captain of the Woke Keens, because we are getting to that this Sunday at SummerSlam. Guys, the rundown for anyone who doesn't know, tickets still available on eventbrite.ie. We have no more combo tickets, we have no more table bookings, we still have general admission available on eventbrite.ie. Don't worry, even if you haven't booked the table, we're going to have plenty of seating for everyone there. It's in bar 1, by the way. That is the main bar, the one with the double screens as well, so you have the couches and all, so it's going to be class. I can't wait. SummerSlam starts at 8 o'clock. We're going to have classic SummerSlam matches on the big screen and in an exclusive. We haven't announced this yet because to celebrate our Kill Bill team poster that you can hear, major shout out to Tristan Carroll at Tune Sweet, music playing in the background, his Pulp Fiction kind of knockoff, like copyright friendly mix. I like to call it no Pulp Fiction. It's like fiction without the bits in it. No pulp. No, it's grand. So to celebrate that, we're going to have a Tarantino soundtrack in the background to get you in the mood for SummerSlam. We're also going to have, we announced this week, the Wii Sports Olympics, where 8 of you are going to compete playing on the Wii on the fucking big screen with drink on board. It's going to be fucking gas crack. Yeah, I'm genuinely not saying this is the guy running the party. I'm saying this because I genuinely mean it, and I don't always feel this way about parties. I would invite non-wrestling people to this party. Like with the Tarantino soundtrack, with the Wii, this pool stuff we have going on, like if people weren't in the wrestling, like there's people in work asking me like, what do I do and stuff like that, and then they're like, oh, that's cool, can we come by? And I'm like, yeah, like this is actually going to be a savage night. But if you're a wrestling fan, it's even fucking better because you have the classic matches and then SummerSlam live and in full. The Wii Sports Olympics is going to be class. In the quarterfinals, we'll have 3 holes of golf. In the semifinals, we're going to have bowling, and in the final, we're going to have a boxing match. Oh, God, I can see the health and safety going so wrong already, but I kind of also want to see it, and that's how I make these parties happen. One of you could challenge for the Low Blows Pool Championship against Owen Mason, the champ, who will also be defending his tag team titles against the Woke Keens. We'll discuss that in just one moment. Also, guys, as well, we announced last week, Buskers are offering, for the first time ever, 15 pounds of chicken wings. People have asked, did we make a typo? No, that's over a stone full of chicken wings. We're offering buckets. They have it in Jack Daniel's barbecue, Frank's hot sauce, sweet chili sauce, sriracha chili, and salt and chili. Guys, make sure as well, just a quick note, if you want in on that, if your group wants to be basically set for food for the night, that is pre-order only, so get in touch with Buskers beforehand. You don't have to get on by a particular time. If you get on to them that day, just let them know, because they do need to prepare those fucking buckets. They're huge. No table bar prices on booze, as always, and tickets available on eventbrite.ie, so get there. But the big news I want to know, guys, how's the chemistry going? You're a few days away from your tag team titles. Corporate Keen, we know you're a chemistry guy. Have you done anything, more team bonding skills? You went to Cork together last week. How's it looking?
Well, again, as long as we just establish who the captain is well in advance, which of course is me.
I'm still not okay with this team name.
With the team name, we've agreed on the team name, and that's
it's on the poster now. I'm not going to redo the graphic design.
So that can't be redone. I'm sorry. That's it. But luckily we agree on that anyway.
Well, I can still be the captain.
Well, no, I mean obviously Kate can't be the captain because that's bollocks. But it's going to be.
Look at you, really quiet. That's bollocks.
That's we're just gonna have to wait and see how it goes. Again, if she just follows my lead, it'll be fine.
I've been practicing. I have a pool cue at home.
Really?
I don't have a table or any balls, but I have a pool cue.
Can you actually get into position to hit a ball?
I can get into a position. Whether it's one that I'm going to be able to hit the balls from,
right?
We have to see.
Okay, well, get the Buskers. that feels kind of exploited. It's like a really injured person is going to try play pool. Katey, is this poor taste?
It's funny. It's really funny. Come on in and watch.
I do really want to see it. Like the boxing, it could go very wrong. I want to see it. Am I morally shady? I don't know, but find out on Sunday. We hope we don't knock the comeback off course or anything like that.
Could you imagine? I was actually due to come back in January 2020, but due to a pool accident.
We could. That sounds funny now, but next week, if it's the case, it's going to be very different. Anyway, SummerSlam, we're going to be looking at the card because that is the reason we are all congregating in Buskers on the Ball on Sunday. We're going to be looking at the card, and like I said earlier, it's one of these where, on paper, it doesn't necessarily grab you, but then when you get into the matches, it is actually really interesting, starting with the Cruiserweight title, because it was announced this week on 205 Live, Only Lorcan is going to be defending against Drew Gulak, and this is the most excited I've been for a Cruiserweight title match, probably since Neville has been on it, because Only Lorcan absolutely brings it every time he's in the ring, and I think there's a legit chance. Cian, you keep up with 205 Live, how do you feel this is going?
Only Lorcan is one of my favourite wrestlers in WWE. I don't know, I don't think I've given him the love that he deserves in the show. I actually don't think I've ever really mentioned that. He is, and he's just, I've only used to see him on Twitter lately.
Yeah, why is he always so angry in all caps?
He's not angry, he's just typing he's just shouting so you can hear him. It's actually, he's a fucking legend, he's so funny.
I feel attacked.
He's fucking gas, but he's also a really good wrestler. And Gulak might have him when it comes to technical ability, but I hope that Only Lorcan's toughness and his strength shines through, and he gets the win. I'm going to back him all the way. I'm going with Only Lorcan, even if it may be a bold prediction.
Who you got? Gulak, Only Lorcan?
Gulak.
Said with the confidence of someone who hasn't been watching 205 Live.
No, but I just booked his brother for a seminar, so I guess I gotta go with the Gulaks.
Yeah, check that out. Is that public?
No.
Okay, great. Just gonna give you a plug, but alright. I'm gonna go, I think Only Lorcan, but I'd like to see this be one of those feuds where the title goes back and forth. But if Only Lorcan loses, he's kind of out of the hunt. So I'd like to see more of this, so I'm going to Only Lorcan. Onto the main card. Finn Balor wrestles the Fiend. Looks like it's going to be regular Finn, not the Demon. But the past couple of times he's been the Demon, including last year at SummerSlam randomly, where I think he wrestled Baron Corbin or something. So he hasn't announced it beforehand. Do we think we get the Demon, or do you think he goes as the Fiend? And we know Balor's scheduled for some time off, so I think Balor's way it's a heavy favour here.
Yeah, I think he is going to be the Demon, and I think the Fiend's going to win.
Oh, shit.
I think it's I think the Demon's kind of done. You know what I mean? I think it's this is a good way to boost the Fiend,
Right.
to let him beat the Demon.
Mm.
I can't believe these are real sentences I'm saying.
You sound like such a nerd.
One of your employees comes in now and is like, Katey, you forgot. Cian, you've been saying for weeks you think this is where at the end of the Demon, you think this is, well, not the end, but you think that if the Fiend is going to bash the Demon here.
Well, I think the Fiend is going to be the first person to beat the Demon, but I don't think the Demon's coming out at SummerSlam. I don't think so. I don't think Finn, I think Bray Wyatt is a master of mind games, and I think he's in Finn Balor's head. I rarely ever bet against Finn, but I think Demon or no Demon, I'm going to have to bet against him for SummerSlam. I think Bray Wyatt is winning. The one thing that might happen, though, is Wyatt gets carried away with himself and gets himself disqualified and beats the shit out of Finn and kills Finn, but Finn still wins by DQ.
Is that where you're going with?
I don't know yet. I don't know.
You're like, I literally just thought of that,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm not sure if I want to change my prediction.
Oh, that's actually a good possibility. Finn by DQ.
You can change it with your official predictions that we'll put out on Twitter.
Yeah, you see, if it's the Demon, obviously it's a lot harder to put away with pin or submission. No one's done it so far.
Yeah.
But DQ, I mean, that's not a bad idea.
Okay, it seems like you've talked yourself into it.
Yeah, well, I'll say it now. I'll change it pretty
And
later
then
on.
we'll see with your official picks later on in the week. Yeah, by the way, guys, huge week for prediction leagues. We have the NXT TakeOver predictions this Thursday, and we have the SummerSlam predictions this Friday. And then the G1 results are going to come in, so the prediction league table is going to be an absolute shit show. Like, basically what the table was is not going to be the way it is, because we've got like 3 different contests. So get onto Facebook and enter those 2 contests and see how you got on in G1 if you entered. I am going to say Balor is going to wrestle as himself. I think he's going to come back as the Demon when he does come back, because he's scheduled for time off, and I think the Fiend is winning this all day. Bayley defends her SmackDown Women's Championship against Ember Moon. Really cool match. Kind of gets me a bit like Oni Lorcan as well, where it's like, oh, if Ember Moon loses, she's kind of out of the hunt, but Bayley's still a relatively new champion, so it's a tough one to call. Which way do you see this going? You became the 9 SmackDown.
I think Bayley, but I think, like, do you think they're ever going to toy with Bayley turning heel?
They kind of messed with it with the whole, when she was doing the Alexa feud, they were teasing it, like.
Yeah, like little bits here and there, like, and I don't know. Look, I'm going to say, sorry, Ember Moon has not really grabbed me in this feud. So, like, I'm just going to go Bayley, because I don't think Ember's built up enough or strong enough yet to take the title from her.
Yeah.
Or if she does take it from her, I don't think this is the match that's happening.
Okay, fair enough. Bayley or Ember?
I don't think Ember is ready. I don't think Ember realizes how important the match is. I don't think she realizes the level that Bayley operates at in a title match in SummerSlam. So, yeah, I'm going to go. I think Ember Moon absolutely at some point will be the SmackDown Women's Champion or Raw or whatever. But for now, I'm going to go Bayley.
You just talked me into it. I think Ember's had an open goal here to kind of get herself over. And, like, you know, she can turn around and say, well, look, you know, Bayley and Natalya got a lot more time. And Trish and Charlotte kind of took away from us. You've got Twitter, mate. You know what I mean? Look at what Becky did. You know, this time last year, Becky was kind of using Twitter to get herself over. And I know she was in a women's title match to do so. But so are you, Ember. This is your... And she's kind of dropped the ball. Like, I was really sold on this match when they came up with it. And I've only kind of gone downhill, like we were saying earlier on with it. Like, I think it's going to be a great technical match. I think we're going to enjoy it. But... yeah, Ember had her shot. She, like, this is one of the cases where wrestling is fucking real, because it's like, you know, if she makes enough noise here, then she forces WWE's hand to give her a title run, but I don't think she has, so Bayley all day for me. And also as well, you got to consider that this is the reason they split Sasha and Bayley up. This is the reason they took the titles off them at WrestleMania, to give Bayley the SmackDown Women's title. So it's got to be someone strong to kind of move away from that direction they wanted to go with the division, and Ember isn't it. Not yet. She could absolutely be one day, but not yet. On to the Raw Women's title match. It's Becky against Natalya, submission rules. Becky's tapping her out all day here. There's no way Becky's losing, is there?
No, not at all. Like,
but it is in Toronto.
Yeah, but, like, they don't care when it comes to Natalya.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah.
Do you think Becky's going into this as a heel? Did you see her tweet during the week where she's like, all the Canadian heroes they've tried, and it's like Jim Carrey and fucking all the, like, loads of different names from the past, and she's having a go at Canada there, and she's like, could Natalya be the next person to fail? Like, she's been a heel in this feud. Like, even a few weeks ago she came out like on Raw and attacked like Natalya while she was training, and it was a very heelish move. Do you think she could come out in full kind of heel mode, but like be so cool that on Raw we're just like, yeah, we like you more because of that, you know? Do you think that that's the way it's going?
I think Natalya will probably have hometown advantage, but it's not going to get her. It's not going to get her that far. No, I don't think any of the women on Raw are on Becky's level, and I don't think hometown advantage is enough to sway it. I think Becky Lynch has this 100%, and I don't like to write wrestlers off. You never know. Shocks happen, surprises happen, but I don't think it's happening for Natalya at SummerSlam.
I forgot to ask you, did you see the trailer for WK?
Yeah.
With Becky?
No.
Have you not seen this?
No.
So everyone's at a fancy dinner party, like Hulk Hogan, Velveteen Dream,
Yeah.
like all these superstars in like a mansion at this black tie party. And then next thing, Becky crashes through the ceiling and she's wearing like a tuxedo t-shirt. And she just walks up to Hogan, like throws a muffin in his glass and is like, sorry about your ceiling. And walks off. And then her and Roman have like more chemistry than I've ever seen her and Seth have.
What?
Just staring at each
Oh,
other like.
shit.
And they're the two cover stars. Like, I think he was like, nice job or something, was he?
Yeah.
And like, that's the trailer. And I don't know how I feel about it.
Oh
I
shit.
don't know whether it's cool or not.
That makes me think about her and Seth. Like, did you ever see a couple where like actually like the girl and like the guy's best friend are like, you should be the couple? You know what I mean? That's gonna get me thinking. Actually, interesting.
No, they're just cover stars, but I'd say Seth is snapping. Like,
This is it, exactly, yeah. Shane McMahon against Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens putting his career on the line. He did turn around to Shane and offer him on Thursday if Shane wanted to do it. I was like, that actually makes this match like really interesting. Not that this match is uninteresting, but like Shane declined. So Kevin Owens' career is on the line. Shane's isn't. Does that just really spoil it?
Can I just say how smart that is? Like, do you ever see in wrestling where like wrestlers are like, yeah, I'll put this on the line. Will you put this on the line? And they're like, no, I don't want to. You coward. It's like, oh, then I will put it on the line. I think it's smart for someone to be like, actually, no, I don't want to put it on the line. Why would I do that? We can just have a match without me putting my career on the line.
I might lose. Like,
Yeah,
you're a really good wrestler. Like, why would I agree to that?
No, so it's smart.
Why
by
did
Shane.
you agree to that? I never asked you.
Yeah, it's smart by Shane.
Okay.
But I'm 100% going with Kevin Owens. Obviously, you don't know what sort of antics Shane could have up his sleeve, you know, his plan. This could be the maddest fuck match of the card. You never know, like, what's going to happen. Actually, it will be the maddest fuck match on the card. But I think I can't judge it based on what might happen and could happen with, you know, people getting involved. I can only judge it based on McMahon versus Owens. In a regular one-on-one match, Owens wins. But with Owens' career on the line, he absolutely, like, he wins twice.
He's going to bust out all the stops.
Yeah,
For
exactly.
this. Yeah, this is it.
no, I think Shane's winning.
What?
I think Shane's winning because they're so mad to have Kevin Owens as the new Stone Cold. They're just recreating Vince and Stone Cold
Oh, yeah.
with Shane and Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens is going to lose and keep showing up every week anyway to antagonize the
Oh,
boss.
yeah, Austin used to always get fired.
Yeah.
Like, that happened. That shit happened every
Yeah.
week on Raw.
He's even doing stunners now. Like,
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I have a question. Is it his career or is it just he quits? Because I saw somewhere.
it just says he quits.
So he
Right.
could go to NXT or Raw or
Yeah.
whatever, like, or
Realistically.
NXT UK. I don't know, like whatever he feels like doing. So it's not. Yeah, so it's not his career, but I still think he's gonna win because I just think he's better.
You've talked me into it. Fuck! I was so sure. Oh, yeah, it's way more interesting. And, like, yeah, it's SummerSlam, so they need a big headline. So, yeah.
I just think like that they wouldn't have made that stipulation. It's too obvious.
Yeah.
It's like the way, remember we were all being like, oh, of course the Kings are beating British Strong
yes,
Style.
exactly. Yeah. They've totally,
Like-
yeah. No, you've convinced me. Shane's winning. Yeah, no, I'm going picking Shane. Yeah, interesting. Oh, holy shit. Like, I did not expect to be turned around on that one. Okay, fair enough. Goldberg against Dolph Ziggler. This is interesting because it's a bit of long-term booking because you remember at Extreme Rules, I wonder if this was always part of the plan, even though the Goldberg match seems kind of shoehorned in at the last minute. I wonder if this was always part of the plan because obviously Ziggler lost in 17 seconds to Kevin Owens. Goldberg's stick is beating people in a matter of seconds. So I don't even know if I'm going to offer winner or loser odds for this in the prediction league. I'll offer odds if you want to pick Ziggler, but they're going to be high odds. But like, the question I want to ask is, does Ziggler last longer or shorter than 17 seconds here?
Oh, I'm picking Ziggler to win.
Okay, go for it. Logic.
It's not logic. Again, like, I think they're kind of redoing the Legend Killer storyline. So, like, he could just be the first legend knocked off. Maybe they're actually going to finally do something with Dolph Ziggler, like.
How many times have we said that?
I know, but they do this to me every time. Like,
They get you.
I hate him for ages, and then I'm like, actually, no, this is quite good. And then he's what I'm looking forward to every week, and then I'm all hyped up on him again, and then I get to.
You've been hurt
again.
before.
I know. I've been burned by him before.
I think if there's any legend killer in WWE, though, it's probably Matt Riddle. That's who I think would get the big win over Goldberg or someone. So I don't think Ziggler's going to do it. I can't imagine it.
I can though, and especially after Goldberg and Undertaker, I can imagine I don't know.
I don't think Goldberg will come back for that. Consider that this is a guy who only came back to wrestling to look cool in front of his kid. You know what I mean? And that's legit why he came back. He came out on Raw and said it pretty much. You know what I mean? When he was leaving.
I just want Ziggler to win so badly.
But I think he can lose and be fine. I don't think this will harm him in any way. We know Goldberg's going to win. Or at least that's the presumption that he's going to win. So I think he'll be
be up for that jackhammer slide down the back. Boom, zigzag. Done.
I don't think surely it'd be like a roll-up or something if he was to win.
Oh yeah, it would be. Yeah.
No, he's not.
The zigzag's one of the least impressive finishers.
That'd be amazing if that was what ended Goldberg and he never wrestled again. What? Really? Really? After all that was his kryptonite? Cian, you're going with Goldberg?
Yeah.
I'm going with Goldberg in less than 17 seconds. I think it's going to be Spear Jackhammer. This is a long card, and I think this isn't a 5-hour deal. This is a 4-hour deal, so they need to cut out stuff. That's why I don't think the Roman thing is going to be an actual match. I think they're going to cut for time, and they're going to be like, we can do it the next pay-per-view. Do you know what I mean? And I think they're conscious of that as well.
I'm up for that too as well.
I think WWE know that, their pay-per-views are long. They've finally triggered what we've been saying, and they're conscious of keeping it interesting now.
Wait, just to interrupt for 1 sec, is every match on this show a singles match?
Yeah, they did similar at WrestleMania.
I'm not against that. I actually think it's kind of cool.
It does mean more. It's a meaty singles match, but there's nothing that grabs you. Usually they throw a 6-man ladder match in just to spice it up and be like, oh, it's fun. You know what I mean? But whereas this, they're basing it on meaty storylines which don't necessarily grab you. But this is a match that definitely does grab people. Charlotte against Trish Stratus. I don't know. Every time I've been saying the outcome's not in doubt, Katie Harvey's been talking me around. I think Charlotte's going to win this.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree with you.
Okay, grand. Yeah. I was like, Katie's going to tell me why Trish's going to win, and I'm going to fucking agree with her. So you think Charlotte's going to win? Is this going to live up to the hype? Does Trish still have it? We saw a bit of her on Raw this week. So.
Oh, yeah, I think, Trish still has enough to get through a good match, and I think Charlotte's good enough to get her through a really good match as well. It really annoyed me when Trish won the title in her retirement match. It still bothers me to this day because you should always lose on the way out. And I think to win a title, I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me. So I'd like if this is her last match for her to lose.
Right, yeah, no, that's fair enough. Corporate Keen, does it come down to the knowledge and the backbone of Charlotte Flair, the heritage of Charlotte Flair, and how she's one of the best athletes around today? Of course, multiple-time women's champion and in wrestling, and probably an evolved era of women's wrestling. Or does it come down to the experience and grit and solid determination of Trish Stratus wrestling in front of her hometown crowd? There's a lot of factors at play here. Where do you think it's going to lie?
I don't think Trish Stratus at her peak could be Charlotte.
Okay.
I think Charlotte is on a much greater level right now than Trish, and I'd be very surprised if Trish got the win, even with the hometown crowd. So I'm going to go with Charlotte. I think this is actually one of the more kind of easier ones to predict. But then again, there's no such thing as easy predictions. You can't write off Trish at the same time, but I'm going to go with Charlotte.
You grizzle old vet, she knows every trick in the book at this stage, so you have to keep an eye on that. Two grizzled old vets meet for the WWE Championship. It's Kofi Kingston against Randy Orton. Obviously a lot of history here. Orton looks motivated, so this could be a really good match. Keane, this is one you're looking forward to.
I think this is going to be a great match, but I'm confident in Kofi. I think Kofi is going to hold that title. What?
You're Kofident. How do they get tumbleweed and fucking buskers?
I think Kofi's going to win the title for I think he's going to retain. I think he's going to hold it for a very long time, because I said this before and I'll say it again. The whole point of his WrestleMania match was, he's been in the company for a decade, and he wanted to prove that he deserved the opportunity that he was given. And the only way to I know he won the match, but you need to prove that you can hold that title for as long as possible. And I still don't think people say, it's time to put the belt on Joe. It's time to put the belt on this guy and that guy. Like, no, it's time for somebody to have a really long title reign.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels like time goes by very fast. And it's like, I know, they say it's been how many months now since WrestleMania?
4.
But that's not really that long. I think Kofi's going to hold it way longer than that.
Okay.
But then obviously it's Orton out of nowhere. RKO could just completely take him out. Orton has size advantage, all that sort of stuff. So
the 3 most dangerous words in WWE are 3 most dangerous letters in WWE history.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, he could take out the punt kick. It's a big, I mean, we've seen people die in a SummerSlam ring before. We've seen Randy Orton get his head elbowed wide open at SummerSlam before.
But he's in this match.
He died and came back to life, which shows how much he wants it. So it's possible. But I think Kofi's still going to win.
Okay, I'm really proud of Kofident. I'm just saying, I came up with that in the spot. I'm probably going to name the show Kofident.
You shouldn't be proud
I'm
of that.
going to name the show Kofident. Like, I'm doubling down on it because you didn't give me the reaction. If you just laughed, I would have forgot it. Now I'm naming the fucking show Kofident. Your name is on a show called Kofident. I'm doubling down, bitch. All right? Katey Harvey, Kofi against Orton. Are you Kofident?
Yeah.
Now your name's on the show called Kofident. Alright, okay, I'm doubling down on this shit.
This is the match I'm looking forward to the most, or I was until that.
I just killed Kofi Kingston's pun.
Yeah.
Push with a bad pun.
I'm a big Orton fan. I love Kofi's reign. Like, I'm really looking forward to this. I think Kofi's keeping it. Yeah, I think he just has a lot more to do. And I think, like, if you take it off him now, like, you're just proving everything right that Orton said a few weeks ago. And it's like, that was such a killer promo.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's Kofi retaining.
I'm Confident. And not just because I'm proud of that.
Like,
I'm
confident.
confident. I'm fucking confident, man. I'm confident. Stop trying to ruin my confidence.
Like the name of, like,
an album that he'd come up with, because he'd be proud of that title if he thought of it first.
An adult diaper.
He's going to release... there's going to be
Do you want to feel confident?
You are going to be so stung when he sells merch with that name. 10% Kofi. I want fucking 10% when you do. Universal title also on the line. Seth Rollins on Raw. Guaranteed victory in this match, which is interesting. Like, because it's like, it's got me thinking, all right, well, if the good guy guarantees victory and then doesn't get it, he looks like a fucking bum. He's coming into this with a lot of injuries though, Cian. This is the thing. This is the X factor. Can he recover in time? We saw how bad he was injured. He could barely walk, goddammit, out to the ring after a week after being attacked by Brock Lesnar and had to endure another savage attack on the ribs. Do you think that, he's just bitten off more than he can chew in this case?
I'm actually really, really torn about this.
Okay.
Like, really, I'm split down the middle. Because when you look at wrestlers who deal with Lesnar really well, there's very few in WWE who can say that they can. Rollins is one of them. Rollins beats Lesnar. Rollins knows how to kind of work around him and kind of... It's not easy. It's not easy for him to get the win, but it's doable. And Lesnar kind of struggles with him a bit. But obviously he's injured. He suffered some really bad beatdowns, some really bad injuries, and I don't know. I think this might... I don't know. It's such a tough one. It's like, I think Lesnar right now seems... Now that UFC is out of the picture, he seems more motivated. He seems to care that little bit more. And I think that might have an effect as well. I don't know. This is really... I'm going to go with Lesnar, but I might change that.
Okay, interesting. I guess this comes down to as well, like, when you're looking at WWE trying to rebuild, having this new era of Raw, like, who do they want to rebuild around? Because obviously they've... Part of this, the start of this was putting the belt back on Brock Lesnar at Extreme Rules. Or do they see Seth Rollins as the guy? Or could they see, like, Lesnar against Reigns or something in the future? Go back to that well. And where do you go with Brock Lesnar if you write out Seth Rollins as a competitor? So it's where do they want to go? And what we're guessing is not kind of what we want to see, but where do we think they see the future, the immediate future of their title? You know what I mean? Like, and that's something that comes down to this. So which way do you see this pan now?
I genuinely don't care.
Really?
I don't care either way about this.
Okay.
Match.
That's rude. Nobody asked if you cared.
Who
do you think's going to win, though?
I don't care enough to form an opinion. I'm sick of this match.
Right.
I'm sick of it bouncing between the two of them, and I want one of them to win and then immediately lose it to someone else who's not Lesnar or Rollins.
Well, then surely you're cheering on Lesnar then, because then if Rollins wins it back, that gives Lesnar a rematch, does it not?
Like,
they don't have automatic rematches. They got rid of that, I think, a year or two ago.
Like,
cool.
I wouldn't mind Lesnar winning it if they finally use him being bet to put someone over big who's not Roman or Seth. You know what I mean? If they finally use it to build someone else, yeah, let Lesnar win and then let him lose.
Actually, yeah, I'm going with Lesnar. Like, I'm confident now. Thanks.
All right, it's an interesting one. What would you care more if I came up with a pun by any chance?
might actually care less.
Right, fair enough. I'll leave it. I think I peaked with Kofident.
See, part of me wants to know what it was, but I also really don't. Like, I'm really torn.
I'll save it for our slow lows.
Can you work it into a poem?
Okay. First they came for Brock. Keith's dead. I got it back. We got Les. I'm going to go Lesnar here. I just think it's too soon. It was a bit too random. Doing a month-long title reign, and yeah, I could go for something new against Lesnar. They need to have Lesnar and someone else. And not Braun, and not Joe. We've done that too. Like, we need to have Lesnar and someone else, and I want to see who that is. Rollins, yeah, he should have the belt back, and he should be the face, but like, it's kind of gone a bit tits.
Who would you rather see beat Lesnar, Rollins or Oney Lorcan?
I was just thinking, what if they call someone like Gargano up just after SummerSlam?
Oh, no, not Gargano and Lesnar.
40-minute epic.
I don't want to see it, but like,
where Gargano's like, oh, come on, and it's like, it's just your entrance, man. How would you hurt? Why are you selling in your entrance, man? Come on, this entrance isn't epic. It can't all be epic.
Surely it's about time they call him up.
Yeah, just get him off a fucking takeover. He's in another main event.
Yeah.
Do you know what NXT lad would absolutely murder Lesnar? Velveteen Dream. He would literally rip Lesnar apart.
Matt Riddle against Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Matt Riddle.
Oh my god, Matt Riddle retires Lesnar at WrestleMania.
They need to just stop. What's Matt Riddle doing on TakeOver? Is it Killian Dane?
Yeah.
Right, okay. That's just a normal match. No kind of... Right. They need to call him up Monday after SummerSlam. He's ready. He's there, and he's building up the hype. And now there's so many fresh matches. Goldberg, Lesnar, Matt Riddle.
Goldberg! Wait, is Goldberg one of the people he was talking shit about? Oh.
He's the main one he's talking shit about.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to see that now, and I hope Dane beats Riddle. I love Riddle, but... I'm looking for it. I forgot TakeOver as well. It's going to be so good. I can't wait for that. I'm in a wrestling mood right now.
TakeOver Saturday, SummerSlam Monday, G1 final, and then there's 3 G1 shows in the middle. It's all fucking great. It's going to be a great weekend. We cannot wait, and we hope you'll join us for SummerSlam on Sunday. Guys, that's just about all the show we have. We'll be back for our slow blows this week. Later this week, Katey, you had an update in your progress in the return. Your Desire video just got like 10 seconds extra. You got the video to the doctor's part, you know what I mean, where you're getting checked. Tell me you had a camera there.
No, well, I've me ma taking slide pictures of the x-rays because you're not allowed to do that.
That'll do. That's fine. You can do pictures, you know what I mean? Actually, and you do a voiceover over it.
So my main surgeon is this lovely woman called Dr. Flannery, and I went in, and sometimes their assistant sees you first, or like their registrar, and it was this doctor I'd never met before, and he was French, and he was like reading my notes, and he was like, oh, you broke one arm. I'm like, actually, I broke 2. And he's like, oh. And I was like, I know, they said it doesn't happen often. He just looked me dead and he went, you are not unique.
He takes off a mask and it's Keen.
And I was just sitting there looking at me, and he looked at my notes and he's like, this is not unique. He goes, I often have people break both at once. He's like, today a person break 2 heels. And I was like,
he's my favourite doctor now. I just hope you know that.
I've literally spent the last 6 months people going, how did you do this to yourself? How did you manage both arms? Or like, this is such a rare double injury. And he's just like, you are not unique. I was like, okay. And then he's like, I'm going to go see if Dr. Flannery will discharge you now. And I was like, okay. I was like kind of hoping to see her. Like, she's been really positive, really getting me back.
Oh, you're so unique, like.
Yeah. And then she comes in, right? And she was like, let me see your arms. And I showed her my arms, and she goes, Katey, you're recovering faster than I expected. She goes, your right arm. She's like, it's pretty much back to normal. She's like,
is that your pool playing arm?
Well, no, it's not the one that the pull cue rests on.
But yeah, surely the right arm is, you need to strengthen the right arm. Oh yeah,
I can extend that arm.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. That's really cool.
For anyone, she basically did the robot movement. She's just swinging her arm.
And then she was like, do you mind, I'll discharge you today from seeing me. She's like, but could I see it in about a year to write a case study? Because this was so fascinating to go through. And I just looked at your man and went, yes.
Would you say it's unique?
I was like, but yeah, it's a good thing that I went off on a tangent. It was a good update. So yeah, she told me January I can start training properly again to get back in the ring. So
Katey Harvey 2020.
There
so
we go. Yeah, so we're getting there.
It's
slowly.
on that good stuff.
When the whole thing was over and done, me and my ma walk into the car, and she just puts a hand on my shoulder and goes, "You are unique." And I was like, I don't need a pep talk, man. I'm fine.
You're unique to me. Oh, amazing. Good stuff, guys. Cian, I'm going to give Cian a moment. Guys, keep an eye out as well. We hope to have news for anyone keeping an eye out for the next update on Fight Factory. Keep an eye out for that. And also as well, don't forget, Trinity Brawl 2, Dublin or Nothing.
What's the point of that?
Like, I'm in plug mode.
Ah, okay.
Like, they can't see.
Yeah, but you were aggressive.
Like, we'll be there. We're going.
Yeah,
it's an audio. Like, they can't see it. Like, I'm handy. Like,
yeah, exactly. They can't see it. So
like, you're after ruining the plug for the show. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the lads need, like, Dublin or Nothing. Like,
it's going to be really good. Like,
I feel like
don't see the point
just the steam's gone out of it now.
It
you
is
know what I mean?
yeah.
67% of tickets gone already.
There you fucking go.
67%, exactly that. And like, I really hope, like, in the 2 hours we've been taping, there hasn't been one more gone, because that's such a precise specific. But you buy the tickets. In the meantime, you buy the tickets. All right, guys, get on there. Trinity Brawl 2 next Friday the 16th. So get on that. It's happening really quickly, and I just realised that tonight. So we're going to be there. It's going to be class. Check that out. Corporate Keen, also, you got back into gaming this week on YouTube.
Yeah, I played Smackdown Shut Your Mouth, one of the best Smackdown games ever. I obviously chose the best character in the game, Eric Rowan, and we'll just see. It was just really fun. I really enjoyed it. It was actually it was really fun to make until I actually had to start editing and stuff, and then it became the worst video to ever edit in my life.
Right.
But it's out and it's there, so
Honest trailers for your fucking. Yeah, it was a bitch to edit. Like, I didn't enjoy it once I edited it, but you should watch it. It is always good.
I actually do think it turned out pretty well, all things considered.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a really funny video. Check that out. Corporate Keen on YouTube. Subscribe there for free for more. If you can't wait to get your low blows fixed. We'll be back on Friday with Ask Low Blows, as mentioned. And we hope to see you on Sunday at SummerSlam in Buskers on the Ball. It's going to be an absolutely class night. We cannot wait. But until then, we'll be back next week reviewing all of that good stuff going on. But until then, for Katey Harvey, for Corporate Keen, for Rick Nash, that's the bottom line, because Low Blows said so, and I still think Kofident was a really good pun. And Katey Harvey, you're not unique.